This week, we are here to dispel the myth that if you are on your weight loss journey, that means you have to hibernate away with no social life, no seeing your friends, no indulging in holidays or days out with the family. We're here to give you some tips, some tricks, advice on how you can stick to your weight loss goals, even with a busy season of life. So you know the deal. Grab a bulletproof, pop on your headphones or link up the Bluetooth. You can tell it's been a little while since we've been recording, and let's chat. Jen, the summer is upon us, albeit you know if you looked out of the window, I don't know what it's like with you, but in South Wales, it is grey.
Do you know what? We've actually got a bit of sun today, so I can't complain. You know, it should be sunny. It's June. What the hell is going on?
I have no idea. I nearly put the heating on the other night. I didn't even think. I was sat down on the sofa. I was chilly, and I thought, oh, I might put the heating on, and then realised that we're actually in the summer. I don't know what is going on, but forecasters are saying the sun is coming. We're due for some lovely weather, some heat waves on their way, and so we know that that's going to mean lots of people are going to have holidays, days out. Obviously, you've got the 6 week summer holidays that are coming up in the not too distant future. And I think that this can make a lot of people on weight loss journeys panic. Like suddenly you go, you know, where's that clear run where I've got nothing in my way to just stick to my plan 100% and be the perfect slimmer?
Yeah, well, that's what every slimmer says when they first come to me. They're like, oh, right, I can start now. I've got a clear run. I'm like, you don't need a clear run. Like, we can start anytime. But I think people do. They look for that. They look for that space in their diary, don't they, where they can just hibernate. And it doesn't have to be like that.
No, and I think actually a lot of the time, you know, if maybe we've done diets in the past or, you know, we've been around in the 2000s, I suppose, about that being, there is this kind of connection with that. If it's not 100%, if it's not perfect, then there's almost no point in doing it. I'd rather not do it than only give 50 or 60%. But actually, if you give that 50 or 60% that you can, and that's the best you can give, which is all anyone ever asks, then you're going to get so much further in the long run. And actually, you're going to build the foundations that you need for that weight management long term versus just having, you know, quick crash diet results, which is what we're not here for that.
No, it's that all or nothing mentality as well. I hear that a lot. You know, I'm all or nothing. I've always been all or nothing. I'm like, well, that's what we need to work on. We need to find that middle ground, don't we?
Yeah, you need to find a place where you can like have the little blips. You can have the lessons that you learn along the way and see it as a positive and kind of give yourself a bit of grace with them, because nothing you do in life goes without a mistake or an issue, or you know. And but in weight loss we kind of, for some reason, put this unrealistic expectation on ourselves that it should just be perfect from start to finish, but actually you don't learn anything from that. You know, you may learn to be a good dieter, but actually we are not here to get you through the revolving doors of dieting again and again and again. We want to break that cycle, and that takes pushing yourself into an uncomfortable place of not being perfect.
And do you know what? All the people that we meet, including us, we are the best dieters. Do you know what I mean? We've all been there. We've become absolute experts at dieting, but nobody seems to know how to maintain or have that middle ground. And that's exactly what I try and teach my clients. It's so important.
It really is. And the thing is, you're never taught to maintain, aren't you? Like if you think now of a moment in time where you've been on a diet and you've had some success, and then you think about when you maybe got to your goal weight or a place that you felt really good, and then what resources or guidance or support were you given to go through the maintenance process and then support you in that weight management long term? I've never come across that until I found this plan. That is what makes this plan so different from anything else that is available, in my opinion, on the market, because not only do we have an incredible plan to lose weight, you get that support all the way through that journey, but then we've also got the steps program, which helps you effectively reverse diet. So we get your calories up so you can eat more but protect and maintain your new goal weight. And then you get that ongoing support in maintenance as life happens, as things change, as you maybe incorporate different activity into your life or go through different stages. You've still got that support to help you manage those long term. And I think that's so unique, and often overlooked perhaps in what the diet and plan offer. Like you've been in this job a little while, Jack. Not
Yes,
only are we
11 and a half years, Rach. I can't believe it.
I don't, but you must have seen perhaps
Hmm.
then trends with your dieters. So would you say that every dieter who's got to go on and maintain their weight has been effect on plan?
Oh, no way.
No?
I mean, I'd say in 11 years, I'd go as far as to say I've probably only had about 5 clients that have stuck to plan 100% in 11 years. And that's thousands and thousands and thousands of people that I've met. You were one of those people, Rachel, that were pretty much 100% on plan, dedicated. And, but saying that, you can't, things still weren't perfect. You know what I mean? Things still happen. And in maintenance, even then, I think people just assume, oh, once I do these steps and I do the reverse diet and I get up to that point, I will maintain. And it's like, no, you still have to. That's still quite hard. I'm definitely not perfect. I have times where I massively overindulge, and I have to rein it back in. But learning, I've taken years and years of experiencing these things, learning from them. It's just an ongoing thing. But I would say, yeah, being perfect on plan probably isn't really a thing that ever happens, in my opinion.
And it may be that you're quote unquote perfect on plan or on the step that you're on, but actually then when you get into maintenance, you may struggle or you may have your difficulties. I know that was my experience,
Mm.
I've mentioned it before on social media that you probably wouldn't look at me and think there's been any massive struggles in the last 3 years because my weight has pretty much stayed the same. But you will know firsthand, Jan, that in the background there's been mental warfare going on.
That's normal. You're going to feel like that. You're learning. You're still learning now, same as me. I think people just assume that everything's perfect. And also, I talk to my clients about this a lot. People that blog online tend to show, not just saying you, Rach, but people in general tend to blog to show that they're doing really well because you want that praise, you want that recognition, and you want that accountability to show that you're doing really well. And sometimes it keeps people motivated by showing that off, shall we say, online. It's very rare for somebody to share that they're struggling or because they feel like they're on their own. And the amount of people in my Slimmers group chat, if I get a message from a client who's struggling, I always say, please share that on the group because actually they're worried it's going to bring people down. But I said, I can guarantee if you share how you're feeling, probably 99% of those people in that group are feeling exactly the same, but you don't see it. So I encourage them to talk about the things that they struggle with. And then we kind of talk together about getting them through it. So it really helps.
I couldn't have got through the last few years had it not been for the support from that online
Mm.
community and yourself, obviously. But I mean, from a blogging perspective,
Yeah.
being able to share the kind of highs and lows and the struggles and the mental battles that, you have and know that you're not alone in it is
Mm.
it's so empowering because suddenly you don't look at it like I'm the problem. You realize it is just a general problem and therefore I
Mhm.
need to find the strategies and things to help. And I think when it comes to having a busy life or having holidays planned, family
Mhm.
days out planned, a lot of the time people can think, well, I don't know how I'm going to do it. And maybe there isn't as much representation for what people do during those events or those
That's true.
days for them to go and get that advice from.
Mhm.
So I think that it's important for us to kind of lay out some of the things people can do so that we know firstly, we don't have to be perfect. So with that in our hearts, as we move forward, talking through some of the things that we would recommend you do to help
Mhm.
give yourself that control, and hopefully we can empower you, be in the driving seat of the next, 2 months of hopeful sunny weather that we get, and events that you may have, and know that you can make plans, and that ultimately the most important thing is that regardless of what you choose to do, you feel in control. We're protecting your mindset first and foremost. And you know that regardless of what happens, your consultant, the plan is always going to be there after the fact anyway. So with that said, planning, Jan. I'm sure you do a lot of different things with your slimmers to help
Mhm.
plan for different events or things that are coming
Mhm.
up. I think that people can sometimes write down events and things they have and get really overwhelmed. And it can
Mm.
seem, like, how am I going to navigate this? So talk to us about how you have, say you have a client
Mhm.
and they're like, Gem, I've got loads of things coming up. What are the
Mhm.
first kind of steps you take with them?
So, firstly, I would always recommend if you're a client, book in regular calls or catch ups with your consultant because all of this planning always happens on these calls. I don't know about you,
Mhm.
but It's not as good over a message. It's always, every time I have these conversations with a client on the phone, they're like, oh my God, I needed this call. Thank you. I've made notes. You know, I'm ready. They feel energized and motivated to like do what we've said. So that's the first thing, book in regular calls. And then I would normally say to somebody, so a lot of people say to me, you know, I've got so much coming up in June or July. I'm not going to be able to stick to plan. Like, do you think I should step up? Like, what should I do? And they're panicking about something that hasn't even happened yet. So I would normally get them to have a look at the whole month on like a, you know, maybe print a tracker to show each day of the month. Then we kind of plot on the chart where they've got their events, and I can guarantee over the whole month it's never that many things. There might be like 4 or 5 things coming up that they're panicking about. And I say, you know, at 31 days, 5 things is nothing. Like, let's just first of all stop panicking and look at what step you're on now, and look at all of those days that you can be 100% because you're at home, you're living your normal lifestyle, your normal routine. And that's like how I live my life now in maintenance. I know all the days that I will be controlled where possible, because then it allows me to have these events and I don't feel as guilty. I kind of, in maintenance, I do kind of eat and drink what I want at those events because I know I've got that other 25 days of the month where I can be really healthy, drink my water, you know, count my calories, do my exercise or whatever it is that I'm doing. Same when you're on plan. 25 out of 30 days, you can be 100%. Brilliant. So you've got your tracker there. Then look at the days that you actually have an event, and is it a whole day? 9 times out of 10 it's not. It's normally a lunch or a brunch or a dinner. So again, you can be on plan until that point. And then we can either navigate the menus together. So if they know where they're eating, I'll normally have a look and just kind of pick. I don't necessarily look at calories for them. I'll just pick a healthy option and say to them, if you can go and pick that healthier option that maybe is the opposite to what you might want to pick, like the burger and the chips or the lasagna or whatever you want to go for, maybe go for the salmon and the vegetables or the grilled chicken with the salad or whatever it is. You can make that healthy option and we can kind of plan before they go what they're going to do. Or they can step up completely. If they want to go to, say, step 4 and think, right, I'm going to have 2 products that day. I've got 800 calories to play with. I can have whatever I want for 800 calories. It gives them then the choice. So I'm not kind of telling them what to eat. I want them to learn how to look at a menu and choose a healthier option. And I'm more than happy for them to send me pictures. I always say to my clients, if you're out and you've picked a meal that you're proud of, send me a picture because I want to see like how your choices are changing. And, you know, experiencing these things, I think, is better than not going out at all. I would rather them go out and step up. They'll learn so much more than saying, oh, I don't want to go. I'm on 1B, so I can't go. Or taking their product, for instance. I would actually encourage people to pick something off a menu. I'd rather them eat and learn how that feels than actually stick to plan 100% on a lower step. Does that make sense?
100%. And I think that, you know, for a lot of people, they do put off doing social events and certain things. And there may be, you know, there may be events that you decide I'm going to pass this time. So, you know, it might be a really boozy night out and you're like, actually, no, that's not for me. I'm going to pass this one. But then there could be a meal out with the girls that you can absolutely go and do and have a lovely time. And I think what you said, Jem, is so key, is that you have to have that support, engagement and accountability. You know, your consultant cannot help you if they do not know what's going on. Like, I have to know what is going on in life. I need to know what you're worrying about in order that I can best support and advise you on what to do. Because like a lot of the time we catastrophize, we make it into such a big thing in our heads, and it's like you go into the ivy, like they're not going to perform brain surgery here. You're going to have a meal with your family. Like we can make that work.
And you know, I know the Ivy menu like the back of my hand, so I know what to offer.
And I think just having that reassurance of somebody saying, and I've had the client say this to me, that just having you say on the menu, okay, here are 3 options that I would go for, instantly I feel relieved, because I think a lot of the time we just don't trust ourselves to make those decisions without going wild. And a lot of the reason people like those lower steps on plan is you do have those really firm boundaries. You don't have to get involved too much when it comes to the thinking of what you're going to eat. And I do see how that could be really challenging then in an environment where you're presented with so many options, especially if you've not had to think like that for a long period of time. But again, that's what your consultant's there for, giving you a few options that you can choose, and then you can go and you can then make that decision. You don't have to have any of those conversations perhaps that you don't feel comfortable having with people that you're going with. And it's a great tool to have and to build on for how you're going to engage with food going forward. Because as we've mentioned on previous episodes, actually how you engage with food in all areas of your life will have to change if you want to make long-term change with food and your weight. So instead of pushing against that, lean into it and embrace it with the support of somebody who's got your back, like 100%. And I think that a lot of the time people don't want to reach out, but like you said, there's nothing I love more than getting a picture of somebody at a restaurant that they're having, because
I love
it's
it.
like, yes, you know, you're doing it. And also for a lot of us, especially I can relate to this with being, you know, I was very overweight and I was very isolated anyway in life due to that, the weight and what it stopped me doing. We want you to start getting out there and we want you to start enjoying life, like those moments on holiday, or the picture you have with the kids or whatever it is. Those are like the real life wins that you're having.
Yeah, definitely. They're my favorite bit. You know, I say it a lot, you don't necessarily learn anything from doing step 1B or the lower steps. It's just kind of a tool to do what it's got to do, and you know, you lose weight quickly. But actually these experiences, being out with your friends, that's what life is about. But if you can learn to control those and find this new way of feeling really in control and feeling really positive about these situations, because I don't know about you, there's a negative stigma, isn't there? Oh, I can't go out, I'm not going to be able to do it, I'm never going to be able to eat again. And I feel like we really work with our clients to build their confidence in those situations. And I get so many lovely messages from people that have been out, or, you know, I've never ever done that before. I've never picked something like that from the menu. I really enjoyed it. I came home, I felt amazing. You know, they've learned how that feels. And that is so important. I feel like that's when the magic happens.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that actually, if you're looking to look at your weight loss in a holistic way, which we really encourage, we encourage that work on your mindset and that you work on your confidence, your self-belief, your self-trust. You know, it's not just about the products. Yes, they are vital for fat loss, but there's so many more things built into becoming happier, healthier, and managing everything long term. Like you have to embrace all of life alongside your weight loss journey. You have to make it something that's only adding to your life versus being put in diet jail for however long. And if you're then saying to people, yeah, I can't come out because I'm on this diet, and we wonder then why people have such a negative view of losing weight and being on a diet plan, because you're literally saying to them, I'm basically being held hostage here by this diet and my consultant. So
I'm not allowed this. It's horrible.
So then your mate send in the rescue mission and they're like, yeah, I was doing that diet, it's dangerous, you can't be like this, look how miserable you are. And it's like, well, can you blame them? Look, this black or white thinking is making us think that if I am on this plan and I'm trying to improve my health and all the rest of it, I have to basically isolate myself from everything that I loved in life before I started the diet. And actually, if that was one of my friends or family, I'd be like, what are you doing, you Heather? Like,
I would as well. This is what I say to them. What do you expect from your friends when you're basically telling them that you're miserable and you're not allowed to do anything? Like, they're going to have a negative thought process on it. And it's definitely in the way that you talk to your friends and family. And I remember when I was on plan, obviously I was on a low step, I would say to my friends how good I felt, how amazing the products were. I just naturally did it because I did enjoy it. And, you know, but I did notice that they liked the fact that I was having a chicken salad or I was eating something because I was on step 2. I feel like it's less frowned upon. But I think you don't necessarily have to take products with you for meals. You can just do a step 2 day or a step 3 day. I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. And whenever I talk about that on my page, is, you know, you can change steps, you can try a higher step, you can incorporate the products and the food. I think that really shocks people. The majority of people only know our plan as 3 to 4 products a day, and that's it.
I know. And literally that is such a small
part
of the whole plan. So Jam, the absolute OG of the one-to-one diet world, talk to everyone about the steps that are in the plan. So that for those that are listening that perhaps aren't on plan, or perhaps they're doing maybe a sole source step and they've never even really looked at the rest of the steps in the program, can you take us through a whistle-stop tour of the different steps that are within the plan?
I can. So there's step 1A. Step 1A is 3 meal replacement products a day plus your water. Step 1B, both of these steps are sole source, so they're just products, but step 1B is 4 products a day plus your water. I personally very rarely recommend step 1A to people. I just find
I know
a lot of people, I really don't. I mean, I have people ask me to go on it, and I say, why do you want to go on that? And it's normally like, oh, that worked last time. You know, I did it perfectly. Step 1A is the only way I can lose weight. I'm like, right, well, let's change that. Let's try step 3. And they're like, what? How will I lose weight on step 3? But they do.
Sorry to interject in the history lesson, well, the steps lesson. What I will say is I am the same. And when people come to me and they say, I want to do 3 products today because I did it before and it worked really well, my response in the most respectful way is always like, well, what are we doing here then?
Yes, if it didn't work, did it?
Well, then why are we here now? It obviously didn't work. And I just feel like for a very, very small group of people, perhaps it works. But I do find that with just the 3 products a day, there can be a lot of negative reasons people are wanting to do that step. It's the most restrictive. It's the lowest one.
Yeah.
The fewest and it's like, no, we need to break that. We don't
I know
that.
Well, that's why we talk about the higher steps, don't we? A lot more. And I personally, when I did plan back in, when was it, 2000, I did step 2 just for the reason I wanted to eat something. I was like, well, I'd quite like to have a meal, but I knew I could control that. So I had my 3 products and then a 200-calorie meal of protein and veg or salad. So that's essentially step 2. Every step you have to have it. Sorry, I'm going ahead.
No, I was just recapping as I interjected. That's what I tend to do. Sorry, guys. So got 1A, 3 products. 1B, 4 products, both those steps are sole source. And then step 2 is 3 products and your 200-calorie protein and veg meals. So a lot of people get confused about step 1B and step 2. They are actually the same calories. The difference is just that obviously 1B perhaps supports more people who don't want to have to think about weighing, measuring, cooking food. Me.
Step a lot of people though. That's quite common.
Yeah, and step 2 is a fantastic option for people that want to have a meal with the family, you know, have something to eat in the evening with the family or, you know, whatever it may be. So those are kind of the kind of lower end of the step program. So talk to us about the beauty of the steps, Gem.
So this is when it gets exciting. Yeah, it does. And this is what caused, I think, the majority of the stir online, that we started sharing the higher steps a little bit more often than most people do, because I think a lot of people see the higher steps as, oh, well, that's when you're in maintenance, but we're here to say that you can even start on step 3, start on step 4 if that's what's going to work for you in your lifestyle. So step 3 is 1,000 calories a day. It's 2 meal replacement products and then 600 calories worth of conventional food. So I don't know about you, Rach, but most of my clients will have, say, a product for breakfast, a 200-calorie lunch, a 400-calorie dinner, and then a product in the evening. So they're still eating 4 times a day with water in between, and they kind of spread it out. That's how I would personally do step 3. I just find it really easy, and I like to eat little and often. I don't like to save up my calories. I'd prefer to split it and have more. And then step 4 is essentially the same, but you're adding on an extra 200 calories. So you have your 2 products plus 800 calories worth of food. And most of mine will split that 800 into 2 meals of 400 and then 2 products on top. One of the final steps, and that is just 1 product a day. And then you make up the rest of the calories up to 1,500 calories a day with conventional food. So the majority of the time that is part of maintenance. For me personally, I tend to stick to around step 5 calories Monday to Friday. And then I'll kind of have a bit of whatever I fancy at the weekends. And then that's how I maintain my weight.
That is a brilliant crash course in just that. You know, it kind of goes even beyond step 5, step 6, whatever, because part of your consultant's job as you go into maintenance is figuring out, you know, what are your maintenance calories? What does that look like? And then gradually, you know, adopting what you've been doing in gradually increasing the calories, reducing the products to then go into maintenance. But as you so beautifully explained, there are so many more steps than just products. And I think when you realize that there's all these other options that are available to me to step up or things like that, then you're giving yourself the power and control to make the plan work for you instead of trying to conform or fit in a box that isn't going to work for whatever reason, whether that be that, like we said, days out, holidays, the rest of it. And even if you're in maintenance, you still have the products available there to have as quick, easy, grab and go options. You know, me and Jamie went out at the weekend and we took some bars and some popsicles with us because I was like, it's easier to just have that than making a packed lunch.
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah, it's just, and I'm not paying for whatever there is when I'm out. So they're a fantastic option to have even then. And that's something, you know, if you're maybe on lower steps and you're thinking, oh, I don't want to take my bar, you know, out with the kids for the day because of X, Y, and Z, people still do that in maintenance, just because it is no different than grabbing a protein bar or grabbing, you know, any other like stevia bar or something like that, other than, in my opinion, they taste better, they fill you up better, and they're going to sustain your energy for longer whilst you're out and about. Don't, you know, I think a lot of the time people make it into a big thing, don't they, in their own head.
Yeah.
They perceive what the judgments are going to be of others before any judgment has actually been made.
Yeah. And that's actually quite that's like a normal thing now, isn't it? It's normalized for people to go and buy a protein shake or a protein bar. So I just feel like this is it's the same.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Like, nobody is really focusing that much on what you're eating. And normally the people that are going to say something to you about you not having the ice cream or the chips, it's probably because they feel like some kind of way about the fact that you're not partaking in something they're partaking in. But I always just say, look, you do what you want. Like, it really doesn't bother me. I'm quite happy having my cup of tea or my coffee in my bar. Like, I'm very happy with that. And actually now people wouldn't bat an eyelid. Yes, it can be an adjustment at first, but you know, you being confident, and as we've kind of discussed earlier in the episode, also showing how good you feel, the positives that it's bringing. And if you're not feeling positive, if you're not feeling great on plan, you need to speak to your consultant, because as we've found out, there are so many different options that we can use and we can tweak ourselves. You know, we are experts in this plan, and we can kind of tweak it to make it work for you, even if that means altering steps for certain days, for example.
Definitely. I was just going to say that every person that I meet, I give different advice to them, because it depends on their mindset, their lifestyle, you know, what they've got coming up. It can be different for every person, and there is always a step that's going to suit you, that you can always find a solution.
100%. And you can, you know, step up. So as you plan, you know, you've got your calendar, you've planned it out, you've booked your call with your consultant importantly to discuss things, you know, you can say, okay, I think that for these type of days in the summer holidays, for example, I know I'm going to be going out with the kids a couple of times a week. So then you and your consultant may think, okay, well, actually, I think for this period of time, it's maybe better that we do step 3 instead of you doing just products, because realistically, if you're going to be eating out a lot, then I would rather you have the consistency than us jumping around steps constantly, because that consistency is so vital in building that discipline needed to maintain those good choices long term, and also protects you from that kind of like binge restrict mindset so many of us get into. Or it may be that you look out at your plan and you think, okay, I've actually only got 3 evening meals out this month, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick to my 1B for the month, but on those days I'm going to step up to step 3 or even step 4, have my 2 products. I'm going to send my consultant the menu options ahead of time. I'm going to make sure I've got a couple of options to go in with. I'm going to be designated driver, so I know I've not got to touch the booze. And then I'm going to book a call in with my consultant the day after the event. Then
love that.
Afterwards, I always say that. And like, if you've had an event, a holiday, anything like that, you book a call in for as soon as you can when you're back.
Before and after. Plan it before and then chat about what you did afterwards.
Exactly. You know, obviously you sent your pictures or what have you, you know, of your meals or anything, if you're having that extra accountability. I also encourage my slimmers to, you know, message me afterwards. You've got home, you've got into bed, how are you feeling? What are the emotions that you're feeling now? Because that will normally set the tone for what happens when you go forward. And also having that consultant reassuring you did a great job on plan, you did amazing sticking to your plan, it reinforces in your own mind that I haven't come off anything, I haven't cheated anything, I haven't done anything wrong, which a lot of us may have got trauma from slim groups in our youth. But it helps protect your mindset going forward, because there's never going to be any great damage done on the scales, and if there is, well, guess what, we got a plan that will sort that fat loss out in no time. But this is the planning, and having those steps is really, for me, about protecting someone's mind and protecting how they're viewing this, you know, this journey, because we know it can be overwhelming. And our job's to alleviate some of that and make it really, really simple for you. I hope that everyone has taken from that, even just one little thing that they can maybe expand on now, or go and discuss with their consultant, or look into going forward. And as I said, the key message we always want to kind of give across when we're talking about life and dieting, or doing plan, is that life does not have to finish. Let this be something that actually enriches your life further, rather than something that puts you in that diet jail box, isolates you from all your friends and family, and makes them want to send a rescue party to come and get that bar out your hand because it's making you miserable. As always, we will be back again next week with a new episode. We will be putting on our socials this week a little link where you can go and put in episodes that you would like to hear, so topics you'd like us to cover and questions you'd like us to answer. So please do go over to our Instagrams. They'll be linked in the show notes so that you can follow us and keep up to date with any podcast updates over there. But for now, it's goodbye from me
and goodbye from me,
and we will see you all again very soon.